Hello, welcome to your Apple training. I'm your host today, Tracy Howell with Information Systems. Our agenda will include an introduction to the 2015 MacBook Pro, and we'll discuss the operating system OS X Yosemite. We'll also chat a little bit about Wake Forest University specifics. Your 2015 MacBook Pro comes with some great features. On the left side, near the back, you have the MagSafe 2 power connector. This is a wonderful safety feature to keep you from accidentally pulling the MacBook off of the table if the cord is ever pulled. You also have two Thunderbolt ports. Thunderbolt is a revolutionary input-output technology that supports high-resolution displays and high-performance data devices through a single compact port. Great feature. There's a USB 3 super speed port, and beside that is your headphone jack, which doubles as a speaker port. You also have those dual built-in microphones. They reduce background noise from behind the notebook. On the right side of the machine is the SDX card slot. They have an HDMI port for high-definition displays or projectors. And there's another USB Super Speed 3. Your MacBook comes with a backlit keyboard. It's a wonderful feature if you're ever in a room that has dim lighting. The keys light up. You also have a great FaceTime high-definition camera that sits just above the screen, and it has an image sensor that produces accurate colors and reduced image noise even in low light. Fine feature. Along the very top row of keys on your keyboard are your function keys. We'll just mention a few things about these. F1 and F2 are the brightness keys, of course, for your display. And then the F3 key is to quickly launch the mission control, which allows you to see every open application and window in one screen. The F4 key is the launch pad, which allows you to see all of the apps on a screen that's similar to an iOS device, like an iPhone's home screen. The F5 and F6 keys are for changing the illumination of the keys on the keyboard. F7, 8, and 9 are your media keys, and F10 is the mute key, F11 and 12 are your volume keys, and of course your power key rests on the right side. Just a few things about the other specs on your machine. Of course, you have the Retina display, 13-inch. And again, that backlit display on the keyboard. You have 16 gigabytes of memory on these and a 256 gigabytes of storage. Great graphics, wonderful high-speed Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth capability. A little bit about the operating system. It looks very similar to an iOS device. Here's a screenshot of a desktop. Along the top left, you'll see the Apple icon, followed by the word Finder, File, Edit, View, Go, and Window and Help. This is your Apple menu and the menu bar. If you're coming from a Windows machine, it's similar to the Windows Start menu. On the right top is the menu bar status icons. Coming from a Windows machine, you would think maybe it reminds you of the system tray or the status tray. The icons along the bottom right on a Windows machine. At the very bottom is the dock, and this is also like the Windows taskbar, where you would pin applications to quickly access them. We'll talk more about the dock in just a few minutes. That first icon by default on the dock is the Finder, and it's like Windows Explorer or File Explorer in later versions of Windows. Allows you to quickly locate any files that you have on your hard drive. The Spotlight feature is a wonderful search feature. It's like the Start menu search feature on the Windows machines. This is a wonderful feature that allows you to not only search your machine, but you'll search recently visited places on the web, and it even brings back suggestions. When you have any application open or a window open, you'll notice along the left side are your buttons for closing and minimizing, and maximizing that window. Just a couple of things that are different from a Windows machine. First of all, these are located on the left instead of the right. And also that red button is going to close the window, but it's not going to quit the application. The yellow button minimizes the window into the dock, and the green button will maximize the window or restore the window. To completely quit an application, you would need to choose the application name on the menu bar at the top left and choose to quit that application. For instance, this image displays Chrome. If I wanted to quit Chrome altogether, I would not just close it with the X, the red X. I would need to choose the word Chrome from the top menu bar on the left and choose Quit Chrome. The dashboard displays widgets. Widgets are extra little apps that you can install. Things like a calendar or a time or a weather app or a calculator. Here's an image to show you the Launchpad where you can quickly access all of the apps that are installed on your machine. Mission Control shows you all of the open applications and open windows in one screen. A few things to know if you're new to using a Mac. As far as managing your files, you can control and click on any file on the desktop or in a folder to see different options, like renaming, opening it with a specific application, previewing it. This is sort of like right-clicking in a Windows machine. Control click. Saving your files. Mac users have several places now to save files. Of course, there's on the actual hardware. You can use Google Drive, which we've been accustomed to using, but you also get access to Apple's iCloud, or iCloud Drive is like Google Drive, where you can save documents, notes, apps, images, and it's accessible across any device since it's out on the web. It doesn't have to be tied to your Wake Forest University account. With iCloud, you get 5 gigabytes of storage free. You can easily purchase more for as little as 99 cents a month to get 20 gigabytes, up to $19.99 a month to get a terabyte more. iCloud includes iPhoto library, and iCloud.com is where you can go to access your files. And also, if you're on any device that's not an iOS device, you can access features like Find My iPhone or iWork for iCloud. We do have a resources page out on our knowledge base at help.wfu.edu. The Apple Computing page is a wonderful place to go to get resources, support, learning opportunities. You can find those here. Office 365 is available to all of our users this year. Portal.office.com is where you can go to access the Office 2016 suite for Mac. You don't have to download or install the suite on your machine. You can actually use it out here on the cloud in Office 365's platform. The features are somewhat scaled down a little, but you do have access to the most common features if you were to use it here in the cloud. Also, on our loads this year, we've minimized the amount of software that comes installed. You have control over what is installed on your machine. Software.wfu.edu is where you would go to take a look and see if there's any specific software that you need. When printing from your Mac, you'll need to install your printers, and the help for that is out on our knowledge base. Again, help.wfu.edu. You can simply do a search for setting up a Xerox printer, and there'll be instructions. Keep in mind you will need the IP addresses on hand. Another feature for those of us who use applications that are not Mac capable, there is a virtual machine application called Parallels. This is a wonderful way to access those applications that are Windows only. It does not come installed by default. Each user must request to have Parallels installed. Macs are not joined to the domain, so keep in mind that when you change your network password every 6 months, this doesn't affect the login credentials for your Mac. Macs will need to be enrolled in Casper. Casper is our mobile device management system. It's kind of like an SCCM. It is the server that we'll use to push software out to Macs. So if you haven't done that, you can find steps for doing that out on our knowledge base. Again, help.wfu.edu. Do a quick search for Casper to locate a step-by-step guide. Now, let's explore some of the tools that we've discussed. We'll talk a little bit about system preferences, some applications. We'll discuss the dock and how to customize that, and using some of the features in the Finder app. At the Apple icon in the top left, you can find a load of information about your machine. The About This Mac brings up the serial number, some information about your graphics, the processor, exactly what you have, and your version of Yosemite. Choosing these tabs will bring up other information about your machine. For instance, the display will show me any other displays that I have connected, such as another monitor or a projector, and I can set preferences here. The Storage tab is a wonderful place to go to see exactly what's stored on your machine as far as apps, photos, audio, movies, and backups. How much space you've got left. The Support tab is a great spot. If you're new to Macs, it's a wonderful place to go to get some help. Some of these will take you out to the web. The OS X support, there are training modules, tutorials, all kinds of wonderful things there. Hardware support as well. Also on the Apple menu is access to your system preferences. We'll take a quick look in here. System preferences, for those of us coming from Windows machines, reminds you of the control panel. It's where you can find information about almost everything on your machine and set preferences and customize things, such as colors of highlighting, the sidebar icon, all kinds of wonderful things in here for you to set up. Once you're inside of one category in System Preferences, you can easily navigate back to the home screen of System Preferences by either using the back arrow or clicking on the little grid that takes you back. I'll mention just a handful of these. Desktop and Screensaver is a great place to go, of course, to set that desktop background image, such as my cool giraffe. You can also set your screensaver options. You have quite a few that are built in from which to choose. Hot corners will allow you to set up certain functionality depending on which corner you hover in with your mouse. For instance, it shows you here in the middle an image of a desktop, and if I'd like to set the bottom left corner to be an option to put my display to sleep, I can choose that here from the drop down. Note the other options here. You can set any corner to be a hot corner, whether you would like it to automatically turn on the launch pad, go to the notification centers, dashboard, open up mission control, disable the screensaver, start a screensaver. All of these are options for you to set in either of your four corners. Click OK. The dock settings are here. You can customize it to be a little bit smaller or larger. As far as the magnification, when you hover over the apps, how big they blow up. And we'll skip to security and privacy. Here is where you can set a password on your screensaver. To check, just make sure there's a check in here that it requires a password. And you can determine how long after the screensaver has started would you require a password before being able to unlock the machine. It's a wonderful security feature here. Okay, back to our home screen for system preferences. Let's take a look at the Spotlight settings. Recall that Spotlight is that wonderful feature with the magnifying glass in the top right, which allows you to search your machine and the web. To ensure that it does search the web, you would want to go here to in System Preferences and make sure Bing Web Search is checked. These are also customizable as far as anything or anywhere you don't want Spotlight to search. You would simply uncheck those areas. Energy Saver. Here you can set limits on how long your display will remain idle before you turn it off, if you're on battery or if you're on power adapter. The trackpad area in System Preferences is a wonderful place to go if you're new to using the Force Touch trackpad on the Mac. That's for more gestures. The scroll and zoom, there's a handful. And point and click. If you choose iCloud in System Preferences, it's a quick way to see exactly how much of the iCloud space you're using, what you've got left. I am signed in here. I can see my account details, make some changes, and also make some changes to what exactly is stored in iCloud. Users and groups is a spot to go to handle things like password, changing the password, setting controls or accessibility. You would have to click on the little lock to unlock this area, and then you can make changes like adding a new user, another logon. A very helpful tool in System Preferences is the search feature, which allows me to easily locate an item. If I'm having trouble figuring out which category to use, I can just begin to type in the search bar and notice what's happening in the background. Different areas or categories in the preferences are being highlighted. And as I continue to type, those narrow down to maybe help me locate exactly what I need. Okay, that is System Preferences. Let's get out of here. The rest of the items are across the top left of the menu bar. Of course, the Finder tool. We'll talk more about the actual Finder app in just a few minutes. But I'll mention quickly here, the File drop-down menu gives you access to create folders, of course. And there's a wonderful feature called New Smart Folder. We'll choose that. What this does, it allows me to plug in some keywords to say I'm searching my computer right now for anything about giraffes. I love giraffes. Or anything that has the word giraffe in the title. And notice it brought back a couple of things here, a couple of images that I have. On the toolbar here, you have the word save. If you choose save, that's going to save anything that's been returned in the results, and just choose save. And once you do, it's going to save that over here. And anytime you add new files that have the word giraffe, they will automatically be associated with this new smart folder. So the folder is updated automatically. It's dynamic. It's a great tool. On the Go drop down on your menu, just mentioned here, it's a quick way to get to those places on your machine, your folders, your documents, your downloads. Also, you can get to the applications in list format here. The Go menu is where what you would use to connect also to, say, a shared folder out on the server. Go connect to server, and you would be able to plug in that server's address here. If you are on VPN, keep in mind you would need to know the folder's IP address, not just the folder name. On the top right are, of course, we mentioned earlier, your system tools such as your wireless connection, got my security virus protection, the Bluetooth feature, the battery life and time here. And then there is Spotlight. Let me quickly mention again, plugging in some keywords will bring back results. For instance, Turing, Alan Turing, the computer guy. I've got some documents saved on my hard drive here and some images, but it also shows me some bookmarks and history from my visits to the web and some suggestions based on the Bing search. So Spotlight is a great tool. You simply click Escape to get out of there. Let's talk about the dock. The bottom here. Notice that you have applications by default. There may be quite a few here that are commonly used. And of course, we can customize any of these, move things around if we need to, change the order of them by clicking, left click and drag. If there is anything on the dock that I'd like to remove from the dock, it's not going to delete the application, simply removing it from the dock. Left click, hold, and pull it up until you see the word remove and let go. That removes that application's icon from the dock. To quickly get the shortcut menu for customizing your dock, you can just place your cursor on the separator bar here. Press and hold the control key and click left click. That's going to bring up the shortcut menu. You can easily get to dock preferences here. And also some things like turn off the hiding, turn it off so that the dock stays in place even if I'm not touching it, and setting the position of the dock. Any apps that are here, you can control click on an app icon to get that app's shortcut menu. Let's discuss Finder real quickly here on your dock, the first icon that is here by default. And again, Finder is where it's like, and from a Windows machine, it's like File Explorer or Windows Explorer, where you can locate any and everything that is on your machine, all of your files here. This is all customizable. Across the top, you have ways to view your files. Choose the first one. Shows you little icons or thumbnails for each file, and they're all categorized for me. Documents together, presentations, PDF. List format with details. And then the columnar with a preview pane here. When looking at your files, if you're not seeing them the way we're accustomed seeing, maybe all folders in one area and grouped together and then the individual files, there's a way to change that, of course. For instance, let's take a look here. Let me go into my documents folder. Let's see what I have. I have a few folders here and I have some individual files. So I'm going to go up to the View drop-down menu on my menu bar. Choose Show View Options. And here's where you can customize the arrangement here. So if I'd like to see everything still using arranged by name, but let's see, fold kind. There we go. Sort by kind. Now I've got all of my folders grouped together and then the individual files below. Let's close Finder. Back to the dock real quickly here. Mission control, we've mentioned that. That is a quick way to be able to see if I had several windows open, other applications, I'd see them all listed here. Just a quick click to navigate to the ones that I'd like to go to. Then Launchpad, of course, all of the applications. Kind of looks like an iOS home screen. You can see all the apps you've got installed. Also have a great search feature in case you're not seeing what you need. You can add an icon for any app to your dock by left clicking, holding it, drag it, and drop it onto the dock. Here is the dashboard with those extra widgets that you can install or gadgets. Choosing the plus We'll show you some that are here. More widgets to kind of locate some more. Have a little fun with that. Get back to your desktop. There should be an arrow. Before we close, let's talk a little bit, just a little bit about Safari, which is the application for your web browsing on a Mac. You'll notice here we've got tabs with some default pages already. This bar is called the favorites bar, and if it's not visible to you initially, there is a way to turn that on. You simply go to the view drop down menu. Notice the menu bar has changed to be associated with Safari because that is the current application. This menu bar does change depending on which application you're using. So on the view drop down, there is a hide favorites bar. For me, it says hide because it's already on. But if it's not on, it's going to say show favorites bar, and you simply turn that on. Of course, these are some of your favorites that you can customize yourself. To quickly see all tabs that you have open in this browser, there is the show all tabs button. You can also, if you are prefer using the trackpad and using gestures, just a thumb and an index finger spread apart and a smooth pinch. Bring them together. Will show you all of the open tabs. Hover over the tab that you'd like to open, and with your fingers pinched, spread them apart on that window. I'd like to mention a couple of things about the settings for Safari. On the Safari drop-down, preferences, security, this should be checked. Just take a quick look to make sure if that it is, to warn you when visiting a fraudulent site. Also on the Advanced tab, Smart Search field, I think this is an okay safety feature, security feature. To have it checked, it's going to show you the full website address. If you notice in the background, we're on a website and it's got a pretty lengthy address there. If I'm navigating, I'm going here and there, I'd rather see the full address as opposed to a condensed version, just to make sure I know where I am. Notice what happens to that address when I uncheck the show full. It's just a condensed. But that's not the full address, so I think it's safe to have the Smart Search field checked. And again, this is in the Safari preferences. We'll quit Safari. Last thing I'd like to mention is the software that is installed on your machine, the iWork suite. And that is Apple's version of Microsoft Word, for instance, word processing application, Pages. Keynote is similar to PowerPoint. It is a presentation application. And Numbers is similar to Excel, a spreadsheet app. These come installed for us, and they're wonderful tools for productivity. One quick note about them. Let's say I'm doing some work, I've finished up what I'm doing, and I'd like to save this. Of course, there is the option simply to save. If you choose save here, it's going to save it as a Pages document. It's going to save it in proprietary format. Anyone who does not have the iWork Pages application will not be able to access this file. But if you'd like this file to be accessible from anyone who has other apps such as Microsoft Word, then you would want to choose the File drop-down menu, Export to, and notice you have the option to make it a PDF, Word, plain text, EPUB, and so forth. Keep that in mind to export to if this file will need to be opened outside of Pages. This goes the same for the other apps, the Keynote and Numbers. Thank you for joining us today for the Apple training. Keep in mind, you can always visit help.wfu.edu, choose the desktop, laptop drop-down menu, And you should see the link for Apple Computing, where you will find a lot of help out there.